We got to talk about Cam Ward. We have to talk about Cam Ward. Not because he's so interesting, dynamic, and is an interesting discussion in the NFL draft going forward, but for what happened in the Iowa State game. When we've seen opt-outs of bowl games in the past, they have been well in advance, and that gives coaches, teams, etc., time to prepare for opt-outs, for what our roster looks like, what the game plan looks like going forward when that player is opted out. Cam Ward quit at halftime. And I know that the immediate reaction, if you are a Miami fan, is, no, he didn't quit. That was the plan all along, was that he was going to play the first half and that they were going to bring in the backup for the second half, and that was the plan. I understand that thought process. But the reality is Cam Ward quit at halftime. Now, I hate the grandstanding from NFL draft folks, whether it be media members or the front office people or whatever, that there's often, well, this kid's really good at football, but he has interest outside of the game. I think it's a dumb argument. And I think all of the things that we pretend are downgrades on a player, like, we question his toughness, we question his commitment to the game, and all of those things. I think it's poppycock, because if you play football real good, everybody looks past all of that. And Cam Ward plays football good. So the idea that, well, this could be a major dent in his draft stock, I don't buy. I don't care about the NFL draft in relation to what Cam Ward did and decided during his bowl game against Iowa State. This is just flat out on a personal level to me, on character, integrity, etc. And I'm cognizant of the fact that I think it might not be fair to grade him on character, integrity, etc. from this one instance. But I think this is genuinely one that can make you question Cam Ward, because he played the first half of the bowl game, intentionally, purposely set out the second half. And if that was the plan, one, we kind of know that because Mario Cristobal refused to answer the questions, refused to say whether or not that was the plan. Those are private conversations. The hell they are. There are certain things that college football fans and the college football world as a whole deserve to know. Did you plan to have Cam Ward sit out the second half? If so, when did you know that? How did you decide that? How did you prepare for that? Because that affects the integrity of the game as a whole. And I don't give a damn about the gambling aspect or whatever, but there are people who do. And I think that plays a part in this as well. The integrity of the game. If Cam Ward starts the game, the expectation is, fair or unfair, that Cam Ward is going to play the whole game. That Cam Ward, barring an injury, is going to play the entire game. And so when you take Cam Ward on the bowl trip, when you have Cam Ward practicing in the bowl practices, when you have Cam Ward on the field for warm-ups, that sends a message that Cam Ward is going to play. And to pull him at halftime, you allow him to get out on the field, get his records in, and then yank him. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I understand the idea from Cam Ward's mind of, I am not going to needlessly expose myself to injury before the NFL draft. I'm not going to damage my draft stock with an injury. I get that. Then don't play in the damn game. Don't get on the bus from Miami to Orlando and play. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't play the first half, because you're needlessly exposing yourself to injury in the first half just as much as you are in the second half. But I think the thing that would sit with me the most, and I have a somewhat anecdote to go with this. I don't know how you stand on the sidelines, and to his credit, he was coaching up coaching up the backup, coaching up the quarterback is playing. In his ear every time he comes off the field. Hey, here's what you need to do better. Here's what you should have seen, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how you spend from August to December in the foxhole with these people, with the people who you are supposed to view as your teammates, your brothers, and you watch them struggle. If the one thing you can help them do is win this damn game, how you stand on the sidelines and watch. How you stomach that, I don't know. I don't have it in me, and that doesn't make Cam Ward right or wrong. It doesn't make me right or wrong. It just makes us different. I don't know how you watch your teammates, your family, your brothers go out, struggle, and ultimately lose when you knowingly could have helped, when you could have been the difference between a win and a loss. Now, I know that the bowl game does not matter. It means nothing. And I understand the idea that when you're sold out to play in the college football playoff and you don't make that goal, anything less can be really disappointing. But if you're going to start the game, I think you got to finish the game. I think you have to say, Coach, I understand that you're looking out for me. I understand that you are interested, invested, and care about what's best for me and my future. But I can't stand here on the sideline and watch my teammates struggle when I know I can make a difference. It doesn't sit right with me. I'm not going to sit here and grandstand and say that this is some disservice to the game, anything like that. Last night, my wife's cousin is in town. We were on a weird eating schedule. It's 10:30 at night. They decide they want Taco Bell. I go to get Taco Bell. There is a line out the street at Taco Bell in the drive-thru. It took me 35 minutes from when I pulled into the parking lot to when I procured my food. And as I got into the parking lot, guy walks out of the employee entrance with a Taco Bell hat, Taco Bell shirt, headset on, and goes and sits in his car. And as he's walking out, somebody says something to him, and he said, "I'm on break." There are 12 cars in the drive-thru. Drive-thru's out to the street. The cops are about to come to direct traffic because it's such a mess. And the guy says, "I'm on break." That's Cam Ward. That's Cam Ward. When your teammates are struggling, when it is as hectic and busy as it can be, I'm on break. Sorry. I struggle to see how you then say, this guy's a leader. I think the guy at Taco Bell was the manager. I'm on break. It's a real easy way to lose your locker room. It's a real easy way to lose the trust and faith of your teammates. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets, right? And I think that's a big bucket to kick over. If you are a teammate of Cam Ward, or if you are in the Miami locker room, if you know your head coach devised a plan in which the best player in our program in the past, you give me the year, because Cam Ward is different between Miami going 7-5 or 8-4 and 10-2. You devised a plan that we would have our best player in the first half and not in the second half. And if we are struggling, if we are losing, if we are about to be beat, who gives a damn, because our dude got to break some records in the first half. Why show up for the game? If you're not going to Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. If you're not there to win, why are you there? Because Miami doesn't need a special bowl trip. Hell, you live where people vacation. I don't know that the Pop-Tarts Bowl is a gigantic celebration and a gigantic reward for the players from Miami. Like, you live in damn near 98% better circumstances than everybody else in America weather-wise. So if you're showing up to not win, what are we doing? And Mario Cristobal must feel really confident that he's got the locker room's attention and trust and love. because it's real easy to lose that. College locker rooms can be finicky, especially in an NIL age and everybody looking out for number one age. And I think that might be the biggest issue is when you live in a world where everybody's looking out for number one. I think Cam Ward looking out for number one is okay, either before or after the game. But when we are walking out between those white lines, I think you have to finish what you started. And Cam Ward didn't. And that is a decision that he, along with his coaches, made. But I don't think you have to like it. I don't think you have to say, this is fine. I'm going to be pro player 99% of the time. I think the players do and should have the power. And the fact that they are now realizing it and utilizing it is good, in my opinion. About 99% of the time. And this is one of those times where I can't help but think, man, I don't know what you thought. I don't know your thought process. I don't know how you came to the conclusion that this was the best decision. This was the best path forward. This was the best chance for Miami to win the football game. But I don't think that was the right answer. I don't think it was the right decision. And I think failing to answer the questions after the game, where Cam Ward's not made available, where Mario Cristobal says, I'm not going to answer those questions. Those are private conversations. You made them public by your decisions. And if you felt so strongly that this was the right way to operate, tell me why. Explain yourself. Show me your work. And Miami failed to do that. So it leaves me with more questions than answers today. And I think that's a bad spot to be in. I think if you can say to me, all right, here's what we thought. And I can at least see your work. I can see your thought process. I don't think anybody's talking about it today. But by failing to answer the questions, you have idiots like me saying, what are you doing? And questioning your integrity, questioning your character. And I don't want to do that on this show. I don't get pleasure out of questioning whether or not you're a bad guy. Because I want to talk about football. I want to talk about the guys who make football really fun, interesting, compelling. But sometimes compelling is bad. And I think this is bad. And I hope we get more answers going forward. But don't be surprised if there are NFL draft questions about Cam Ward's competitive spirit, competitive nature going forward. Because if you can stand there on the sidelines and watch your teammates struggle and you can do something about it and you go, nah, I'm good, sorry. It's not going to sit well or right with a lot of people. And he'll have to answer those questions at some point. I just hope he has the right answers. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. I appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you're listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Huddle.